The following is a presentation of the Tragically Hip podcast series.
Okay, we are officially into uncharted waters. We never do third ones. So let's see what happens.
Yer Hipstories, reflections from the final tour.
Hey, it's JD here. And August 20th, 2016, I was sitting on the couch. That's it. That's the entire memory I had of the biggest night in the history of the Tragically Hip. A couch, me on it, propped up like a doll somebody had finished playing with. Let's start at the start. 2016 took about a third of the year from me. Between North York General and Sunnybrook Hospital. And I want to be careful with how I say this next part, because by and large, I'm told the care that I got was exceptional. And I believe that. Not all of it was, though. That's the honest version. And I'm still doing the math on which was which. One of the things they tried was electroconvulsive therapy, bilateral, which means both sides of my head instead of just one. It's doubly dangerous. You go under, they give you something so your body stays still, and then a current triggers a short seizure in your fucking brain. It works for some people. It worked on me in the ways they measure working. In this case, though, it also took my memories and it wrecked my ability to make new ones. They tell you that can happen. They do tell you. But nobody can hand you what's going to feel like from the inside. Hey, it's JD here, and on August 20th, 2016, I was on my couch. That's it. I was on my couch. That's the entire memory I had of the biggest night in the history of the Tragically Hip. A couch, me on it, propped up like a doll somebody had finished playing. Let's start at the start. 2016 took about a third of the year from me. Between North York General Hospital, then Sunnybrook. And I want to be careful with how I say this next part, because by and large, I am told I got exceptional care. And I believe that. But not all of it was. That's the honest version. And I'm still doing the math on which was which. One of the things they tried was electroconvulsive therapy. Bilateral, which means both sides of my head instead of just one. They put you under, they give you something so your body stays still, and then a current triggers a short seizure in your brain. It works for some people. It worked on me in the ways they measure working. In this case, though, it also took my memories and it wrecked my ability to make new ones. They tell you that can happen. They do tell you, but you never expect. Nobody can hand you what that's going to feel like from the inside, and I wasn't in any shape to really hear that anyway. So, August 20th, 2016, Kingston, the farewell. The last time those five men would ever be in a room together doing what they were so fucking good at. I'm propped up on my couch the same way I was on my seat for the second Toronto show, sitting there like a goddamn zombie, trying to feel it. And I mean, that's the part that guts me now, 10 years later. I wasn't feeling it. I was trying to feel it. I was working on feeling it, like a guy leaning on a door that only opens the other way, though. Anyway, by the next morning, it was gone. All of it. Every bit. Here's the thing, though. I've only recently realized that since 2018, since I started making these podcasts, what I've actually been doing is documenting my way back to this band. building it back. One podcast, one conversation, one song at a time. Listen, this was never the plan. I'm not that organized. It's just what happened. And you have been along for the whole thing, which, yeah, thanks for that. Flash forward August 20th, 2026, 10 years to the day the show ends, and I'm standing there incredulous, speechless, emotional as fuck. And I'm surrounded by throngs of people who feel exactly the same way. All of us confused and a little bit lost. Because it's over. Again. It's fucking over again. But then I had a thought, except this wasn't a new thought. It was a thought from 10 years ago. My brain didn't just find a key. It unlocked the door and held it open and invited me in. Here's what was inside. The same disbelief, the same refusal. I would not accept that any of this was the end of it. There had to be one more tour. One more show. One more fucking song. But then the curtain dropped and my head dropped with it. And as I looked down at my always shaking legs, I wept. That's the memory. That's what I was allowed to keep. One night, one room, one couch, and a grown man crying into his own needs. But I'll take it. I'll take it. Because I will hold that memory for as long as my brain lets me. Forever and a day. Big thanks to everybody who was in that group outdoors in Springer Market Square, and to everybody who carried it out into the night with us afterwards. I had a lot of fun. You know exactly who you are. They say don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened.
The bath.
Sure. Fine. But that's not what happened to me.
Hey, it's JD here, and welcome
The tears
to Yer Hipstories,
were necessary.
Reflections from the
They were the
final
lubricant.
tour.
Those
This
tears are what
is
forced
the
the
la-
door open. I had to cry
The
before
Hip,
I could
our home
remember,
in
and I had to
Kingston.
remember before I could
And today
feel
we've assembled a
anything
panel to talk
real
about August
about that night
20th,
again.
2016.
So no,
And to do that,
cry because it's fucking over.
we are live
Cry
in the
hard.
Bathhouse. That's right,
And then
Bath,
go and see when it
Ontario,
shakes loose.
where Phantom Power, music at work, and we are the
So
same
there's
were
that.
born. Right here in this fucking
All right,
room.
gang. Here's the
The
finale of Yer
Bathhouse is a
Hipstories,
19th
Reflections from
century
the Final
stone
Tour.
coach house.
Shot at the
Hip
Bathouse
turned
on
into
the
a
20th
fully
of August, 10 years later, to the goddamn day. I hope you enjoy it. Thanks for listening.
century stone coach house. The Hip turned into a fully livable recording. Hey, it's JD here, and welcome to Yer Hipstories, Reflections from the Final Tour. This is the last stop of the Man Machine Poem Tour. The Hip, our home in Kingston. And today we've assembled a panel to talk about August 20th, 2016. And to do that, we are live in the Bathhouse. That's right, Bath, Ontario, where Phantom Power, music at work, and we are the same were born. Right here in this fucking room. The Bathhouse is a 19th century stone coach house. The Hip turned into a fully livable recording space in the 90s, one of only a few in Canada, and over 100 musicians have made records here since. Today, I'm joined by a very special panel in a very special place. Now let's meet them and hear their stories.
All right, here it is.
You can see it now. How cool is this? Let me introduce our panel because they are also exceptionally fucking cool. So on my far left, we have Shamus from Brockville. How are you doing today, my friend?
I'm so happy to be here. This is awesome. Yeah, this is fantastic.
I'm happy you're here too. We've got Eric from Ottawa joining us.
Hello, JD. It's a pleasure to be here. This is truly a gift.
Well, thank you. And we've got Tiffany from Kingston itself here. How are you doing, Tiffany?
I am doing awesome today, and this is fantastic.
It really is a special place. And there's no better place to be recording this last episode of Yer Hipstories, Reflections from the Final Tour, than here in Kingston, just outside of Kingston, actually. But this is the Forever Hip weekend, and there is going to be a lot going on. This is going to air Saturday evening, August 22nd, right before we go to Springer Market Square and watch a national celebration together. How cool. Let's get right into things, though. Shamus, talk to me about a song that takes you back to August 20th, 2016.
Okay, so the one I chose, Ahead by a Century is my favorite, but I'm not going to choose that. I chose Machine. Just because, I don't know if it was the time or the way we consumed music at the time, I did not get into that last album. Or maybe it was the fact that I knew Gord was sick, and I wasn't emotionally prepared to get into that last album. When I heard Machine live, I thought, this is their last concert, and they're introducing me to something amazing, something that I will take forward. Like, how can they still do this?
It's mind-blowing.
It was mind-blowing. It was such a great song.
Yeah.
Great song.
Yeah, it's a good record. It's a really good
I
record.
have it on vinyl now. I'm okay with it now.
The white vinyl? Is it the white vinyl?
I'm not even sure.
Oh, wow. It's very good looking. It's a
Yeah.
very good looking piece of wax. That's for sure. Tiffany, how about you? Is there a song that brings you back to August 20th?
For me, it is What Blue, and for similar reasons as Shamus, partially because I had never seen it performed live before, obviously. And as soon as that album came out and we heard about the tour, I obviously bought the album and listened to it on repeat. You know, you've got to listen to it 3 or 4 times before you decide what songs are sort of catching you. And What Blue, I really, really like that song. And, you know, without them having had released a whole bunch of songs, I was hoping it would be one that they played. So, and they did play it. So every time I hear that, it takes me right back to that day.
It's a great song.
Yeah.
It really, truly is. Might be one of the best songs on the record.
I've got the lyrics tattooed on my arm.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How about you, Eric? What's a song that takes you back?
So whenever I hear Wheat Kings now, I always think of that final show, and ironically enough, it has nothing to do with actually the hip, because, not to get political at all, but of course, you know, the Prime Minister at the time was in the building. And I just vividly remember, as you know, naturally the line of our parents' prime ministers. And I've never been at a hip show before where the whole audience shifts their focus away from the stage, and they're all looking up at that suite that he was in. And I thought, well, that's actually pretty cool, because it's pretty symbolic to think that, you know, literally the head of Canada, so to speak, was there. And for a moment, you know, our focus did shift from that. And you can even see it in the video that we'll watch on Saturday night.
Oh, that's wild. I don't think I noticed that before.
Yeah, there was a big cheer too.
Oh.
I don't think he'd get one now, but still. Like,
No, I don't think so. All right. Let's start at the start. This all started, Man Machine Poem Tour, with an email from Tales from the Hip that we all got the Tuesday after the May long weekend, which is pretty thoughtful if you think about it. They let us have the weekend, and then they dropped a bomb. Mm-hmm. And when they dropped that bomb, they also dropped a nugget of goodness telling us about the Man Machine Poem Tour. I want to know where you were, who you were with, what was going on when you first heard the news. We'll start with you, Eric.
So I remember waking up and getting the email right away. And you're right. I mean, you just finished a long weekend, so you're ready for the weekend. You get this news, and it was literally a moment that I was overwhelmed with emotions, because naturally, you know, I was devastated for the band. This is their identity. This is their brother in arms. And I was equally gutted for Gord, because, you know, this is someone's son, this is someone's father, brother, husband. And I thought, I can't believe that, you know, this is what's happened. But as you said, it's mixed emotions, because I kept scrolling and I was convinced that there's no way they're going to go on tour to support this album. But to my amazement, it was truly remarkable that they were going to conquer that mountain. And I went to work that morning with such a heavy heart, but such gratitude at the same time, because I was mourning the announcement, but so thrilled that they had that courage to go and like I said, conquer that feat. And anyone that walked by the cubicle that morning, I was playing the music, and they didn't have to say anything. We just would look at each other, and everyone knew. It was just that somber moment. But like I said, there was pure excitement for the months ahead.
Yeah, that email was the ping heard around Canada for sure. Shamus?
Well, I was at work. I'm a teacher. I was at school. I think my overwhelming feeling was disbelief, with a little bit of fear. Like the whole journey of this tour, I was afraid.
Yeah.
You know, a little bit. Obviously, you don't want anything bad to happen, and right up until the last note of the last concert, I had that little bit of fear. So there, yeah, my wife and I, we really, really, really wanted to get tickets. Absolutely. Yeah. It was a need.
Well, we're going to get into that for
Yeah.
sure.
Oh, yeah.
Tiffany, how about you?
It was an early morning email, because I go to work at 7 o'clock, and I remember I was up that morning for work, so I sat down, you know, must have been ready, sat down on the couch. You whip open the phone to start doom scrolling, and I saw this email, and I've always been one who's never really understood when people get really, really upset over something like that, over artist dying. And, you know, it hadn't been very long since I believe Prince had died. And, you know, people were really upset. And I didn't get it until that morning. I was reading that email, and I'm sure I probably shed a few tears. And instantly I thought, I absolutely get it now. I get how people get so emotionally invested. And, you know, I feel like I'd grown up with the guys. In 25 years, you've been doing nothing but listening to their music, and it's sort of the soundtrack of everything. And you read that email in the morning, and you thought, wow, this is going to end.
Yeah.
We're not going to get to do this for another 20 years or 30 years. And yeah, it was pretty gutting.
Yeah, it's a really cold shower, for sure. For sure. Tiffany, we'll stick with you, and I want to know about the tour specifically. When you read the tour part, was it sort of like in your head, like Shamus just said a moment ago, I'm going to be there?
100%. And, you know, immediately you're thinking Kingston, they're only going to have 5,000-6,000 seats, and everyone in the whole country is going to want to be there. So, you know, you're make sure you're signed up for all the pre-sale, everything. And it was tough. I remember having like my husband's phone and my phone and the computer and everything set up for go day, and you don't get anything that day. So, you know, you set up or you wait for the next show or the next pre-sale. And I was pretty well willing to drive or fly anywhere to get tickets for any of the tour. But Kingston was the big one. You know, I kept thinking, okay, I haven't got tickets. Kingston will be the one I get tickets for. And it just never happened.
Ah, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shamus, similar story?
Well, yeah, we didn't get tickets. We tried. I'm usually the ticket getter in the house. I'm the guy who, as a teacher, I may or may not assign seat work between 9:30 and 10:30. Days tickets go on sale. But I didn't. I couldn't. And we tried Ottawa and we tried Kingston, obviously, because we're in Brockville, which is about halfway between both. The Ottawa show, the day of, they released tickets, and my wife sent me a message, and I tried and couldn't. And then she sent me a message, oh, I tried once, I got us tickets.
Amazing. Happy ending to the story.
Yeah, I brought it, just in case you want to see.
You still got it.
Oh, yeah,
Oh.
absolutely.
Oh, that's amazing.
That is truly amazing.
Yeah.
So you got out to the penultimate show.
Yes, absolutely. And amazing seats. We were behind the stage.
Yeah.
Front row. I could hear the drums, not like the drums through speakers. I could hear the drums.
Wow.
And I have some amazing photos that I took. And they walked off right under us. And it was just amazing. I'm so happy we were there. It was very, very special.
Now, Eric, you were at the show, so I want to know how in the hell you scored tickets to this. Like Tiffany said, I think K-Rock holds, or Slush Puppy now, holds 6,700 seats. And I think they had close to 8,000 there that night.
Yeah.
How did you get in?
Oh, beyond fortunate. So apologies, but I genuinely remember that day, like you mentioned when the email came out. My spouse at the time, she was a scientist, and she made a point to say, you need to go and make every effort you can to see as many shows as you can out west, simply because she was very logical and practical in the sense that, God forbid, if his illness, really increased or got worse, he may not be as strong when they make their way eastward. And ironically, it was the opposite. He only got stronger and stronger each night. So I was just fortunate with her and a few of their friends to just look for single tickets. So I was able to get to 7 shows before Kingston, majority of them out west, just by myself. And I'd never done that before. And it was actually a really cool experience because you didn't need to make sure someone next to you was having a good time. You were just getting lost. And the focus, of course, was on the band. And I remember after the first 3 gigs, they played 52 different songs. So I remember going to see my sister in Calgary. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not staying with you tonight. I have to go to Edmonton. I have to see what's next because each night was so special. So long and behold, Kingston, of course, was the White Whale. Everyone was trying to get tickets. And like everyone, there was just no luck. And then, ironically, there was a guy named Jonathan Allard that went online that evening after they'd been released and just refreshed the screen. And all of a sudden, there was 2 tickets front row that popped up. They must have been re-released or something, but he snagged them naturally, but he didn't have anyone to go with. So he put an ad online and saying, I'd like to take someone to the show, make me a proposal.
Wow.
So I naturally was like, okay, this is destiny. I have to make this work. And I sent him a video. And I just said, look, I'll give you the face value ticket, but I don't believe anyone should be profiting off this tour off of Gord's illness. So I'll only give you what the ticket's worth, but I'll give you some product in kind, like some hip wine. I had an extra ticket to a show in Toronto. I'll take care of your drinks that night. So at least that way, you can feel compensated, so to speak. And he said yes, kind of reluctantly. And I met him. He was a Canada Post employee. I gave him all the cash. I said, I trust you. I will see you in 3 months. And that's how it came to be.
Wow.
So well done, Jonathan, for keeping the promise.
Yeah, that must have been a little nerve-wracking to fork that over. Yeah.
It was indeed.
Oh, my goodness. Well, Eric, we'll stick with you, and I want to fast forward a bit now. I want to fast forward to August 20th. And I want to know, what that day looked like from you. And you can explore it from any angle you wish. But what did that day look like for you up until the countdown clock struck 1 in the arena?
I had gone from Ottawa to Kingston the night before with my friend Alex and stayed at his place. And we got up and we hit downtown right away. And you could just feel this palpable buzz in the city, I mean, at the end of the day, it was like it was a homecoming for the hip. Regardless of what merchant store you walked by, they were playing their tunes, and they had a sidewalk sign set up outside, or you'd go into a restaurant, they'd be blasting their music videos on the screens. So it really felt like this communal celebration. And I was thinking about the other day, it's funny because at the onset of COVID, remember that was the only conversation everyone had is like, oh, what do you think of COVID? How could you be, affected, all this good stuff. And at the end of the day, that was like Kingston. That's the only conversation people were having, no matter where you turned. And I wanted to just bathe in that celebration and just jump into it. But I had made a commitment to CTV News to do this interview. So I kept saying, I got to really monitor my beer intake. And as soon as that interview finished, I was like, oh, finally, I can just be like everyone else. And we went to Jack Astor's and had a few drinks and went back to his place. And to speed the story up, I remember grabbing a beer and I thought, what is this? And sure enough, there's a hornet inside. And it stung me right on the tongue. And I thought, boy, this song tonight's really going to resonate more. And not knowing that it was going to be their final tune. But we get to the gig, and before the clock strikes midnight, I just remember the place being amped up. Like, literally, the energy was insane. I just heard the general manager of the Slush Puppy Arena saying that he's never seen anything before or since like that. There was no lineups for the beer. Like, literally everyone was in their seats. And I will never forget how hot it was in there.
Oh, okay.
It was hot, like soaking hot. And I thought to myself, how could Gord go out there and soon to be this leather outfit? But anyway, yeah, it was a remarkable day.
Yeah, he's a sweaty guy in the best of circumstances.
Yeah.
Tiffany, how about you? What did you get up to on August 20th?
I got up that day, and that was actually the day that I got my tattoo done.
Oh.
So it was sort of a tribute for that day. So I think it was about noon I went and got my tattoo, and came home and collected my husband and my best friend, and we went down Hip Market Square. Most of it, like, we didn't take chairs or anything. It was early enough at that point that a lot of people were just sitting in chairs and stuff in Market Square. And, we just sort of stood around and soaked up the atmosphere. They had the posters everywhere. And like Eric said, every store you walk by, you heard hip. And, everybody sort of had a common theme for conversation. And what are you doing tonight? And are you worried about Gord? And boy, this sucks. And it was kind of a juxtaposition of emotions, because a little bit celebratory, like Eric said, but at the same time, you almost felt like, you were saying goodbye to your favorite band.
You were.
You knew that was going to be the last time you ever saw them perform live, and it perhaps a little bit selfishly of me. I'm so grateful that they gave us that, because it would have just sucked even more if the news had to come out and that was it. The last time you saw them, you didn't even know it was going to be the last time you saw them, right? So it selfishly, I love that they did that, because that's the type of band they are. They went out there and they did it for us, but I don't think a lot of bands would have done that. So we hung out down there. We stayed there right until the show was done. And the city had everything set up for the busing the people out of there. So we took buses so that I live in town, but we took buses so we wouldn't have to worry about parking and stuff. And, kind of stood around for a half hour, an hour after the show. And it kind of felt like the day after a wedding. You get married and you've got all this anticipation, and then the event happens and it's over, and you're just sort of like, well, what now? And, I didn't really know what to do the next day. You just kind of wander around.
Yeah, it's
over.
heavy.
Yeah.
It is. It's heavy. And that can be tough. I mean, like you said, it's the soundtrack to our life, and somebody hit the stop button.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, oh boy, that is a terrible thing to go through. I relate completely as a big fan. Shamus, take me through your day.
Well, it was a pretty normal day for me. Like I said, we saw the show 2 days before. My wife and I, our entire relationship is punctuated by cool, hip things.
Oh, share some.
Well, we were married in 1997, and my one buddy, Mark Horton, he was doing sound for Ashley McIsaac at the time. So his wedding present to us was backstage for Roadside Attraction.
Wow.
So this was like weeks after our wedding, and we went and he took us backstage, took us to this on the side of the stage, but a level up to watch the show. So and Sheryl Crow sat next to my wife to watch Wilco, and that was pretty cool. But just before the hip came on, somebody came up and said, "No, can't be up here. Everybody needs to go." And we're like, "What?" We're here to see the hip. He took us down to the side of the stage. So I stood by Paul's giant guitar cabinet, and
Then you told your wife it was a honeymoon. That was the honeymoon right there.
Yeah. And another quick one out. In 2002, we went to see Paul McCartney in Toronto. And we're coming back, stopped at an en route. There's a limousine outside the en route. We go up to the door. We see Rob Baker coming with his arms full of coffees. So we each grab a door and open it. And he says, "Thank you." And both of us look at each other and go, "No, thank you," in unison. And he just looks at us and laughs and keeps going. So.
Oh man.
Yeah. So and just little things like that. We've gotten pretty close to them, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So anyway, the 20th.
The 20th.
So we thought about coming to Kingston. We didn't have tickets or anything, but we knew Kingston would be a venue in itself.
Right.
But we decided, you know what, we had our public goodbye on Thursday, and we just bottle of wine, TV, watched it. And it's probably best just because I was raised in the 70s. I was taught to stamp down all the emotions, right? But music gets me, right? So I don't want to be an ugly crier in public. So I can do that on the couch. Yeah. It was, and still, there's still cool, hip things happening to us. For example, I'm sitting in the middle of the Bathouse studio. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I didn't consider that. That's totally true. Well, let's dive into this show and talk a little bit about the songs they chose and the songs they played. And I want to know from Eric off the top, were you sleuthing the set lists? Like, were you trying to piece things together? And did you come up with their rare album in advance? Like, was the algorithm giving that away?
I wasn't trying to tap too much into Paul's masterpiece of rotating, the lesser known, so to speak, through after that little first break. But there was a rotation. And so I was trying to kind of stay away from expecting it. But equally, it was just as hard because, bless his heart, but Gord had those 6 monitors that we know about. Right. So, of course, the title of the next song would always come up before they would launch into it. And be like, oh, okay, well, I won't be surprised. So it was just literally, it's still, every song was so special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Music at Work is the record that they ultimately did. Mm-hmm. And they played Toronto number 4 at their last concert. Who had that on their bingo card? Tiffany?
Not even a little bit. I don't know if, they've even played it live before, had they?
They had but
they?
not
Yeah,
very often.
Certainly
16
not.
years, yeah.
Yeah, is that how long it'd been? Yeah.
It's it's a very special song. It's as I understand it, it's based on Gord's relationship with his grandmother, and you were the rock plug for all of us. That's a pretty big fucking deal.
Yeah.
Emotional song.
Yeah. What else did we get that you were really digging? They played something from Up to Here, Road Apples, Fully. We only got a little bit of Fully, though, didn't we? No, we got a full set of Fully. We got a bonus track.
An extra one, yeah.
In the encore. That's right. We heard from Trouble at the Hen House. We heard from Day for Night. We heard from Phantom Power. And then we got Music at Work. So we literally got the first 7 records or 8 records in a row. And I'm sure there were a lot of people that were really thrilled with that because we do know that there was a falling off at some point. And I think the Fully Completely tour in 2015, I think that pulled a lot of people back in. And then obviously this news, everybody wanted to see the last show because, they did. They kicked it off that night with 50 Mission Cap. Shamus, what do you think of that choice for a lead-off song?
Oh, it's a great lead-off song. That's a great, and especially in a hockey rink.
Yeah.
It's just the guitars, just hearing that bow, bow, bow.
Yeah.
That's going to get the crowd. That's going to say this is not a somber event.
That's right.
Yeah.
I just heard from somebody actually on one of these episodes, and I forget who it was now, so I'm sorry I'm stealing your thought. But they said, it was Steve from Toronto. He said, for everybody watching, it felt more mournful. But for those that were in the arena, it was a rock concert.
Yeah.
And it was a celebration. Whereas, watching it at home, I don't know whether just the view or the cutting or whatever, it just made it a little less celebratory. There was a dourness about it. So 50 Mission Cap, great choice. Tiffany, are there any songs that jump out to you on the set list that when they played that night, you were just like, holy shit, I'm hearing this one? This is great.
Not so much, holy shit, I'm hearing this one, but I was really, really in kind of a macabre way hoping that they would play Scared.
Right.
I don't know why. I knew as soon as he started playing the first note that I was going to cry. I'm a girl and that's what I do. But I don't know. Maybe I wanted to see everybody else's reaction to it. But, that's something you would say to your next door neighbor with the events going on in your life. Like, I am scared. And
yeah.
so it's as soon as as soon as that one started playing, and I thought they were going to end the show with that, which just gutted me. I think that one was the end of the second encore, and just absolutely gutted me.
Oh, I got to go. It's been a pleasure doing business with you. Like, that just takes on such a different vibe. And I'm sure, Eric, even in the arena, that one smacked of heaviness.
Absolutely, yeah. I remember that, and on that note, it was remarkable that, and I shouldn't be surprised because Gord only surprised us for 3 decades and still does in many ways with material that comes out, is that he was able to face his own mortality in front of us, with that line. Or I remember in Victoria, the third song was "A Snake Just Dreamed with Poison in Its Head." So you had to know that these were resonating with him, or correcting himself, when he was talking to the Prime Minister about the First Nation, saying, "We'll figure it out." No, you'll figure it out.
Right.
But yet he was still able to continue on. And I don't know who else in the world could possibly have done that. You're acknowledging that you're on the way out, unfortunately, but yet you're going to park that emotion, and you're going to be the undisputed best frontman ever. So,
Undisputed. Agreed. Yeah, undisputed. Shamus, what did you think? I remember precious little, and that's because if you've listened to the podcast, I've got memory problems, and they're medical memory problems. But I do remember Grace 2, and I remember his face, almost looking like the actor mask with the sad face. Like, that's sort of what his mouth looked like as he was holding the microphone, at his chest and just belting out the Him Here Now in Grace 2. What did you think of that, Tiffany?
Emotional.
Yeah.
If I recall, I think Grace 2 was right after Scared. So, I still had a lot of the emotions. Am I right on that? Yeah, it was. So I still had a lot of the scared emotions. So I probably hadn't finished crying from that. And
Right.
I, like you, I noticed his face. And it's something that, you pay attention to. It's hard to look away, and you're wiping the tears and the snot off your face, thinking, like, why am I crying? Like, look what this guy up here is doing, and look what he's going through, and here I am just sobbing.
Well, it's not even tears of sadness. It's tears of being overwhelmed, right?
Yeah.
There's a flood of emotions going through our bodies at this time, and that does make you cry. It really truly does.
Yeah.
Shamus, what did you think of that moment, the Him Here Now?
Oh, it's powerful. It's so powerful. I really don't like to look at videos before I go to a concert. I want it to be my own experience. But there's a scream from a Toronto show that went viral.
Night number 2.
And it was very similar to that. It's very
Guttural?
guttural. Yeah, it
Raw.
was from the core of his being. It was just, and you can't help but be affected by that.
No.
No.
Now, there are people that suggest that part of it is Gord's frontmanshipness. I saw raw emotion.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Eric, is there any vibe to that for you, that it was partially, Gord being Gord?
Definitely. I mean, I just said that he was able to park that emotion, but he was only human.
Yeah.
So, there were times when he would well up in his eyes, like you mentioned, in that night in Toronto and even in Kingston. I mean, it was, how could he not? For me, being there, it was such a macro experience, because I'd hazard a guess and say that it was probably their biggest guest list they've ever had, with family and friends being at that gig. And we know that from Toronto number 4, a shout out to his mother saying this is someone we might know, and then obviously to his sister at Fiddler's Green. So you knew that it was intimate for the family,
Right.
but on the macro level, you knew that behind the lens, I didn't know at the time, but nearly 12 million people would be watching. So
Insane.
It was mind-boggling in that sense, and he was obviously affected by certain things. But what really struck me the most, and especially that night, and it was actually during Toronto number 4 that you mentioned, is that completely understandably, now that we know that his diagnosis caused him to basically start from scratch with his memory, is that he naturally flubbed a little bit of the lyrics in Toronto number 4, and he was so upset, and the anger was there, And you can see it in the video, but you couldn't hear it because he pulled the mic down, and he was right in front of where I was standing, and he just yelled out this F-bomb.
Really?
And I could just think to myself, Gord, like, you didn't not only go on tour to overcome this massive hurdle, but more importantly, you just didn't go on tour with 30, 40 songs. You dusted off over 90. And you're so hard on yourself because you were such a relentless perfectionist when it came to that. So you could tell even at that moment he wanted to deliver the best quality concert. And there were emotions that got involved, but gosh, he was so determined to his craft and dedicated.
I think I've had the very good fortune of being able to listen to the live record, and it's tremendous. Anybody who says we got Tragically Hip light on that tour is mad. They are absolutely insane. And you're going to hear it on that record for sure. You will hear it. And there's bumps. There's speed bumps in the record. You've heard the tracks that have been released so far. There's little flubs, and I'm glad they kept those in because it's true to what we got.
Yeah.
They didn't select the best songs where there's no mistakes or whatever.
Best polished version.
Or clams, as they like to say.
It's just authentic.
Yeah, just authentic.
It reminds you of what the
concert.
pulse was. You know,
Yeah.
and that we were so privileged to actually get to that point anyway. So
Agreed.
celebrate that, yeah.
Did you have something you wanted to say?
No.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Well,
I want to know if you have any final thoughts on the song selection. Well, actually, before I choose that, what did you think of their choice to end with Ahead by a Century? Was that a no-brainer, Tiffany?
I think there's probably a lot of songs I could have ended with, and we could have said that one makes perfect sense. I think Ahead by a Century was certainly one of the ones that did make sense. But it depends what you wanted to end the concert on. You could have ended it with Scared. You could have ended it with any number of songs that sort of mean goodbye or let's look ahead, or you could have ended it with a whole bunch of different ones. But that's always one of my favorite ones. So I was really glad to hear it. Just because I thought at that point maybe we might not.
Yeah. Now, Eric, were you keeping track of the songs that had been played so that you could predict, or were you just letting it wash over you?
A bit of both. I was expecting that there would be trouble at the hen house at some point, and knowing that this is, like Gord said, uncharted waters. This is going to be it. And when they started with Gift Shop, I thought, okay, well, they're not going to, end with Flamingo or something like that.
Right.
So Ahead certainly seemed like the next logical choice. But, from your comment, Shamus, you were saying about 50 Mission Cap, how that raw energy kicks in. That would be a typical closure, like On the Verge or Fire in the Hole or something like that.
Yeah.
And even though it wasn't a typical or traditional closure prior to that tour, what I loved about it is that, there's beautiful 30 seconds of Robbie's riff that was a new song in progress. So it was almost like a seed planted as saying that, they were still creative at that moment. So that's
Of
what I love
course.
about it, is that, it was just a reminder that the band is still, living and making art. And
Absolutely.
it was a beautiful way to end.
Was the band ever tighter, Shamus? Like, I mean, they were fucking tight and so good.
as a person who's been in bands, there's a thing where nobody's leading. It's almost like a Ouija board. It's like the song is progressing, and they have that. They have that so much. Like right from the beginning, you could tell they had this. They would give themselves to the songs, and the songs would dictate what happens. And yeah, right up till the end. And they just released Ahead by a Century this morning.
Oh, cool.
I was listening in the shower. And yeah, that intro, fantastic.
Beautiful.
And then an extended ending with electric guitar solos. Fantastic. And it's a happy song. I think it's a great way to end. And one of the images that sticks with me of the concert is it's Rob, and he's visibly happy during that song, you know?
Yeah.
You know, it's obviously it's a life change for all of us, but they wanted us to be okay with it.
They really did. They really, they didn't phone this in at all. Mm-hmm. And we've seen bands time and time again do final shows and final tours or whatever. I'm looking at you, Mick Jagger. And I will say that this was out of the ordinary. This was extraordinary. It was just a wonderful, wonderful piece of art. You know, collectively, this set list is strong. They just have so many good songs. Yeah,
And especially they dug so deep in their archive.
right.
You know, I mean, being determined, you know, from Gord's perspective, to bring up every album.
Yeah,
You know, like Paul was saying, sometimes they would, you know, maybe only have the tendency to play maybe one song off an album, but to go with at least 4 off of every album. I mean, I
Yeah.
thought that was just a gift in itself to
They,
the fans.
they could have played the same 15 songs the entire tour, and we would have been
Absolutely.
happy.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, so for them to go that much further above and beyond was just it was a gift to us.
Yeah.
Well, it is, because you think there's so many things that go into putting a concert on. There's lights, there's sound, there's all this stuff, and all that stuff has to get rejigged night after night. You know, it's not just the band playing a different list of songs. So there's that. What did you make of the start of the show, Tiffany, when they started out in a really tight formation to play those first 8 songs before the lightning storm took place?
It was kind of neat because they, you know, they're tight as a band, you would think, and I would think that this probably obviously brought them tighter together. But you notice throughout the show too that they would spread out, and by the end of the show they're kind of
They were in stadium
yeah
rock mode.
yeah absolutely. But you could tell they were. It almost looked like they were trying to protect Gord a little bit, you know, stay close to him.
I wonder if
feel him
that's the
out.
genesis of it. I
Yeah.
wonder if that
Yeah.
was the genesis.
Yeah, maybe just, you know, maybe just feeling him out, seeing how he felt that night, stay a little closer to him, make sure he's okay, he looks good, we can spread out a little bit, you
Yeah.
know?
Now, I know Gord Sinclair was on one of the videos that he does, and he was explaining that they were trying to show the career progression.
Yeah.
You know, like from being on a small stage somewhere.
Yeah, they called it the cocktail set.
The cocktail set.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Well, this
James?
room we're in
Yeah.
could have an influence on that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure there were times they were all in this room playing
Oh,
music.
many.
Oh, of course. I didn't
You
even
Yeah.
think about
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Standing on top of each other.
But
Yeah.
you're right, though, Tiffany, because Dr. Perry, he actually mentioned halfway through the tour that it wasn't by design, but it just naturally and symbolically looked like they were protecting him, you know, like under their wing. And
Yeah.
you know, if he struggled with the melody or something, you would see Gord start singing the main lyrics,
Yeah.
you know, to him or something. And it was they were really united and supporting each other. It was excellent to see.
Yeah, band of brothers, for sure. For sure. Well, when the music stops, the show is over. But what did you do? Tiffany, you were in Market Square. Shamus, you were at home. Eric, you were parked in front of Paul Langlois. Jesus Christ, I can't believe that, by the way. That's fantastic. And you've got a special set list.
I got a story about that, actually. You know,
Oh,
it's not,
sure.
Not that
Show it and share it.
Not that it's you know, I'm looking for any sympathy or anything else, but you know, just again taking that huge gamble with Jonathan and saying, "Here's the cash. You know, I'll see you in 3 months." And sure enough, he was there to greet me by the door. And when we went in, I remember putting my, you know, in disbelief, my hand on the guardrail and looking up and thinking, "Oh my gosh, like." This is heaven on earth. Like this is a major blessing. And I looked down over the rail and I thought, oh, this is strange. There's a wooden box that says Cam 2 on it. I thought that couldn't be for a cameraman. And sure enough, the camera that followed him from backstage to the front stood up on that box. So for the first part of the night, nothing against cameramen, but the whole part of the night, the camera was right in front of you the whole time. And I just remember I thought to myself, like, no, this can't be. This is an obstructed view. This is their final show. I have to watch it. And then immediately the next thought was, do you realize, Eric, how many people on the other side of that lens would give anything to be where you are, even if you have to look through his armpit or something?
Right.
And that set the tone. And it's like, you can't dismiss any joy from this moment just because there's a cameraman in front of you, you know?
Yeah.
And it was... so we bonded that night, the cameraman and I, and no, at the end of the show, like you were saying, Billy Ray, of course, was right there, Dave Coster, and he was handing out some of the set lists, and he gave this to Jonathan and I, and I've never seen anything like it before. It was maybe for the production side, like you're talking about, for lights and everything, but it showed the stage left, stage right, where the actual songs would begin, and then just kind of music cues and lighting cues. And I don't know if that was for the CBC, but anyway, at the end of the day, it's just a nice, great souvenir. So that's why I threw the ticket stub in there as well.
Yeah, that's really special. That's very special. Had you sat front row or had seats that good prior to this show?
A couple times, New York general admission shows like that. Very fortunate, but it was very surreal. It was almost more of an out-of-body experience being that close for the final show, because, again, being very, having the great fortune to see other shows on that tour, I kept telling myself, there's another one. Don't let all the emotions out. You'll be able to see them again. In that final show, yes, there was a moment in Scared, like you mentioned, Tiffany, and there was people around me where there was puddles growing at their feet. But I just remember this overwhelming sense of gratitude and joy that during my life, I wasn't, only 13 or so when I discovered them, but I got to witness them in their prime, and I got to see them, and I'm just grateful. And that gratitude trickled into the streets afterwards, where people, like you said, they felt like they left a wedding party, and everywhere you went, people they weren't somber, they were full of joy and looking at the positive and grateful that we were all given that gift of those 4 weeks.
As you three are evidence of, there is just an amazing community around this band. There is such an amazing community that, over this weekend, which is the Forever Hip weekend, I'm throwing the Gathering, and it's a series of events, and there's going to be lanyards, and my thinking is, you see somebody with a lanyard, you know that they're your brother or sister. But the truth is, anybody there this weekend is there with their own set of feelings and their own perspective. So, that's an interesting thing to think about. Shamus, how long did it take before you turned off the TV?
The TV turned off pretty quickly. Us sitting there
Right.
lasted. It was like I say, they've been a part of our whole relationship that Tragically Hip has, and that was the end of it. It was tough. It was not easy. Yeah.
Were you guys talking, or were you just sitting in silence?
Oh, we were debriefing the whole show. Yeah, we were talking.
That's cool.
Yeah. My wife would remember more stuff than I do.
Tiffany, how about you in Market Square? You mentioned earlier about the wedding party, but how long did you stick around?
We stuck around for maybe half an hour. Right as the show ended, you sort of get the hordes of people immediately that are leaving, right? So we sort of let them all leave, and they had all the buses and everybody down there. So we let them all leave, and we waited until there started being some room on the buses. But I had taped it, I'd PVR'd it. So I went home and immediately hit play and started watching it again.
You did?
Yeah.
That's
immediately.
awesome.
Did you see Eric?
No. I probably will next time I watch it, though.
Yeah, Saturday night. Are you, well, we'll get into that. We'll get into that for sure. Starting on my left with Shamus, any final thoughts on Kingston, August 20th, 2016?
I think it's a part of Kingston now. I mean, it's literally, they have a little a stone in the ground commemorating it. But I think it's just it's become part of Kingston. It's every time I visit Kingston, I think, well, I mean, these days you can't help it. There's murals.
It's so cool.
Tragically Hip Way. They're really leaning into it, which is fantastic. Yeah.
Eric?
When I think back to that show, I think of the five of them, arms in arms, and can only imagine, what they've shared together through the years, the ups and the downs, and just that brotherhood you mentioned, JD, earlier. And I was so pleased that they were able to experience and to end something that they didn't have any control over, at least on their own terms, in terms of, that moment in time. Obviously, things were cut short, a lot of what they were aspiring towards, but knowing that they were able to at least accomplish that, it really that really resonated with me a lot. That seeing their faces and saying, you know what, I'm sure there was a massive sense of relief from them as well. That okay, this is over, and we did it. You know, like a lot of them said they didn't even think they'd get through the first show.
Yeah.
So it was truly remarkable.
You know, like I've talked to a lot of people, and Victoria and Vancouver 1 and 2, especially, they were like the crowd, the audience was palpably nervous for what they were about to see.
Yeah.
Which is just nuts. Just nuts. Tiffany? Final thoughts?
Yeah, it just, I mean, first I was just like what Eric said. I was so relieved that they had done it, they had gotten it done, and there hadn't been any, any incidences and stuff. Because that there was some people sitting back saying they shouldn't be doing it, he shouldn't be doing it. If something happened, they would have been right forefront saying, we told you so. So, there's always those people. And I was so relieved that A, they couldn't say that, and B, that Gord was as well as he could be at the time. And then also the fact that we had 25,000 people in Market Square, and I don't think there was any bad incidences. Like, there was, you had all kinds of first aid and everybody around, but I didn't hear about one bad instance. And you would expect almost with 25,000 people and
booze.
I was going to say everybody's drinking, but it was just so celebratory, and we were all there for the same reason, and you don't want to fight with the guy next to you because he's crying over the last song too. So it's
you don't hit a man who's crying.
Yeah,
you just don't.
I was really, really just amazed with the whole thing, the way it all came together. I think that in 20 years, people will still be talking about what they were doing during the final HIP concert. The one thing I wanted to say is when we go south every winter, my husband and I, and it used to always be you'd have your Canada patches and your Canada flags and your stuff. And now and not that I don't wear flags, but I will take stuff with the HIP on it. And that brings Canadians to you quicker than any Canadian flag ever. You walk through there with a Canada flag on your backpack and you go, oh, Canada, hey, Canada. You walk through there with a HIP shirt and, hey, the HIP, everybody. And you know they're Canadian because they recognize the HIP.
Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. Yeah. Oh, guys, this has been interesting, but I've got a couple more questions for you. We'll start with Eric. What are your plans for this weekend? It's August 20th, 2026 today. It is the anniversary of this final show. Kingston is going strong all weekend long, and they're showing National Celebration. They're showing Long Time Running. Choir is going to be there tonight, presumably doing a bang-up job with a song. I'm not sure what song it's going to be yet. We get to see a new Mike Downey video at the beginning of a national celebration, which is fucking spectacular. I had no idea that was coming. So I want to know, and we'll start with you, Tiffany. What are your plans for this weekend? Will you be watching on Saturday night?
I absolutely will be. Saturday night, I'm not sure if we're going to go down to the square or watch it from home, watch it with a group of people. Tonight, we will be down there for choir. We're going to sing some songs. Tomorrow is the gathering at the Merchant, and then we'll troll on up to Market Square after that. So I'm going to those two for sure, but I'm looking forward to it being a little bit more of what we had in 2016.
Oh, I hope so.
Everybody's going to be there for the same reason, and it should be hip love everywhere down there.
Yeah, hip love. I love that. That's great.
Trademark.
Yeah, trademark that. Put it on a shirt. Shamus?
Probably same couch, new bottle of wine, same wife. Yeah, probably another quiet night. It's just I'm going to be looking for this guy though.
Just reflective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were you wearing, Eric?
This actually.
Shirt? Oh,
yeah.
shit.
Just because.
Have you changed since then?
No, can't afford laundry. No.
Smell pretty good.
Thank you. No, ironically, just being behind that camera guy, I'm not in it very much, but against my better judgment, I should share that in the Long Time Running documentary, that last Head by a Century, that's me doing it. So unfortunately, if you see that tomorrow night, you can have some public and private judgment then. So, yeah. But tomorrow, I mean, it's been a decade, and there's no way you could easily replicate it. But I will introduce my son. He's almost 3. Noah's his name, and he's gonna sit there and maybe stomach 3 songs tomorrow if he can last that long, and share it with Vera with a bottle of wine from 10 years ago, and maybe start a new tradition. So
Great
because the hip live
parenting.
on. The hip live on. Yeah,
That
that's
is
the best
some
part.
That is some great parenting for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm always blown away when I'm listening to one of my kids' playlists in the car. Inevitably, they control the car stereo, and it'll be like 3 songs of shit, and then all of a sudden, a hip song comes on, and I'll be like, "You guys know this?" They're like, "Yeah, this song. We hear it from your room all the time. You play it a little loud." Especially my daughter, who lives right next to our room. She's always complaining that the walls are thin, and she can always hear my music in the day. And I'll listen to the same song sometimes. Like when I was in a real in between evolution kick a couple months ago, and I would listen to "Are We Family" 15 times in a row, you know, and yeah, they grew tired of that. But it turns out they didn't. It turns out that they dug it. So
You lovingly brainwashed them. Yeah.
yeah,
Nice.
inculcated them.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, fellas, ladies, it's time to bid adieu. Actually, at this point, sadly, I could be here all day, just soaking it up, and I'm sure you could too. But I'm wondering if you have anything that you would like to plug, and we'll start again on my far left.
Really, only share the road, use your blinker, be kind to each other. Tragically.
Eric?
I will plug the fact that, again, thank you to the hip for everything, because I remember Gord Sinclair once said in an interview, he doesn't think there would be anyone else in the world than 5 guys from Kingston that could write a song like Grace 2. We could equally hear everyone's contributions. And I really don't think there's anyone else in the world that could go on tour the way that they did and have a front man, like I said, facing his own mortality, looking at it in the eye and overcoming all the odds to deliver something to us that we're still talking about 10 years later.
Yeah.
So thank you to them. And hi, Mom.
Tiffany?
Final thoughts. This has been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. My one plug I would like to get in is every December, my husband and I do a fundraiser for the Humane Society. It's #FillTheSleigh. We collect food and donations for the Humane Society.
Oh, wow.
In 3 years, we've collected almost $5,000 and over 5,000 pounds of food for the animals. So
Nice.
that's my little plug.
Oh, that's a good plug. Yeah.
Thank you.
Is there a URL that people can visit, or is it on Insta?
#FillTheSleigh on Twitter and Facebook, because
Okay.
we put a big sleigh out in the front lawn. So if you're dropping off food donations and we're not home, you can just throw them right in the sleigh.
Oh.
He's got those old blow molds, the plastic Christmas figures.
Sure.
We've got about 150 of them on our 40-foot front lawn. So you can come and see the display. You can throw a bag of food in the sleigh. And
Well, people, this has been a really fun series for me to do, reminiscing about the Man Machine Poem Tour from its inception in Victoria all the way east, back home to Kingston, and the incredible people that I've met along the way. I want to thank them for participating. I really want to thank my 3 panelists today, Shamus, Eric, and Tiffany. I'm very fortunate to have met you, and I think this is just a great time, and we've had a lot of fun today. So,
thank you.
Thank you, JD.
no, thank you for sharing your thoughts. I ask a lot of people, and again, I always say these shows are easy for me. You guys do all the heavy lifting. I just have to ask questions. That's what I've got for you today. So make sure to visit home.tth.com for all your Tragically Hip podcast series needs. Sign up for your letter, and I hope I see you around this weekend at the gathering. Until then, pick up your shit.
Thanks for listening. This has been a presentation of the Tragically Hip podcast series. For more information and to follow us, visit home.tthpods.com. If you'd like to reach JD, send an email to jd@tthpods.com. The following is a presentation of the Tragically Hip podcast series.
Okay, we are officially into uncharted waters. We never do third ones. So let's see what happens.
Yer Hipstories, Reflections from the Final Tour.
Hey, it's JD here. And August 20th, 2016, I was sitting on the couch. That's it. That's the entire memory I had of the biggest night in the history of the Tragically Hip. A couch, me on it, propped up like a doll somebody had finished playing with. Let's start at the start. 2016 took about a third of the year from me. Between North York General and Sunnybrook Hospital. And I want to be careful with how I say this next part, because by and large, I'm told the care that I got was exceptional. And I believe that. Not all of it was, though. That's the honest version. And I'm still doing the math on which was which. One of the things they tried was electroconvulsive therapy, bilateral, which means both sides of my head instead of just one. It's doubly dangerous. You go under, they give you something so your body stays still, and then a current triggers a short seizure in your fucking brain. It works for some people. It worked on me in the ways they measure working. In this case, though, it also took my memories and it wrecked my ability to make new ones. They tell you that can happen. They do tell you. But nobody can hand you what's going to feel like from the inside. Hey, it's JD here. And on August 20th, 2016, I was on my couch. That's it. I was on my couch. That's the entire memory I had of the biggest night in the history of the Tragically Hip. A couch, me on it, propped up like a doll somebody had finished playing. Let's start at the start. 2016 took about a third of the year from me. Between North York General Hospital, then Sunnybrook. And I want to be careful with how I say this next part, because by and large, I am told I got exceptional care. And I believe that. But not all of it was. That's the honest version. And I'm still doing the math on which was which. One of the things they tried was electroconvulsive therapy. Bilateral, which means both sides of my head instead of just one. They put you under, they give you something so your body stays still, and then a current triggers a short seizure in your brain. It works for some people. It worked on me in the ways they measure working. In this case, though, it also took my memories and it wrecked my ability to make new ones. They tell you that can happen. They do tell you, but you never expect. Nobody can hand you what that's going to feel like from the inside, and I wasn't in any shape to really hear that anyway. So, August 20th, 2016, Kingston, the farewell. The last time those 5 men would ever be in a room together doing what they were so fucking good at. I'm propped up on my couch the same way I was on my seat for the second Toronto show, sitting there like a goddamn zombie, trying to feel it. And I mean, that's the part that guts me now, 10 years later. I wasn't feeling it. I was trying to feel it. I was working on feeling it, like a guy leaning on a door that only opens the other way, though. Anyway, by the next morning, it was gone. All of it. Every bit. Here's the thing, though. I've only recently realized that since 2018, since I started making these podcasts, what I've actually been doing is documenting my way back to this band. Building it back. One podcast, one conversation, one song at a time. Listen, this was never the plan. I'm not that organized. It's just what happened. And you have been along for the whole thing, which, yeah, thanks for that. Flash forward August 20th, 2026, 10 years to the day the show ends, and I'm standing there incredulous, speechless, emotional as fuck. And I'm surrounded by throngs of people who feel exactly the same way, all of us confused and a little bit lost. Because it's over. Again. It's fucking over again. But then I had a thought, except this wasn't a new thought. It was a thought from 10 years ago. My brain didn't just find a key, it unlocked the door and held it open and invited me in. Here's what was inside. The same disbelief, the same refusal. I would not accept that any of this was the end of it. There had to be one more tour. One more show, one more fucking song. But then the curtain dropped and my head dropped with it. And as I looked down at my always shaking legs, I wept. That's the memory. That's what I was allowed to keep. One night, one room, one couch, and a grown man crying into his own needs. But I'll take it. Fucking take it. Because I will hold that memory for as long as my brain lets me. Forever and a day. Big thanks to everybody who was in that group outdoors in Springer Market Square, and to everybody who carried it out into the night with us afterwards. I had a lot of fun. You know exactly who you are. They say don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. Sure. Fine. But that's not what happened to me. The tears were necessary. They were the lubricant. Those tears are what forced the door open. I had to cry before I could remember, and I had to remember before I could feel anything real about that night again. So no, cry because it's fucking over. Cry hard. And then go and see what it shakes loose. So there's that. All right, gang, here's the finale of Yer Hipstories, Reflections from the Final Tour. Shot at the Bathouse on the 20th of August, 10 years later, to the goddamn day. I hope you enjoy it. Thanks for listening.